Hi everyone, it's me, the Healthy Speechy, and we are going to talk about hearing and my dog who's deaf. So when we're doing an evaluation, whether you are working on dysphagia or receptive expressive cognition, whatever you may be assessing, a big component is always hearing. When you're working with an older population, you have to put presbycusis oftentimes, which is age-related hearing loss. In that aspect, you may have to increase your volume. If the patient's in isolation and you're wearing a mask, you may have to remove the mask to allow them to incorporate lip reading, because that's a large part of them understanding what you're talking about. And then trying to figure out and make sure that they hear you. I'm holding these because we went to Formula One racing this weekend, and with Formula One racing, they're really, really fast cars. So the cars are going over 200 miles an hour as they're zooming past you. And there were people from a couple months old is what I saw, all the way up to elderly there. Some people were wearing hearing protection, either these or the earmuffs, and a lot of people weren't. So what I've learned over the years of us going to these events is how important it is to wear some sort of hearing protection. Excuse me. So the little ones that I did see did have their, I want to say pediatric earmuffs, but they're not pediatric. They're just children's size. And I only saw a handful of them wearing them, actually, which is very disturbing considering how loud it is. And it's just for a split second that they're zooming by you, but nonetheless, those engines are extremely loud. And I just kept imagining everything that may be going on in these poor little ones' ears. The smallest one I saw was maybe a month or two old, and she was not happy. At some point she did fall asleep and she still didn't have the earmuffs on, so I don't know what that was about. But yes, so to go over these lovely little things, I'm going to open them carefully. Actually, I have scissors. Okay, so this is how they look. Good to use if you're shooting anything, very important to protect your ears. Or if you're around any loud noises, and sometimes even concerts, depending how close you are to the actual stage and the speakers and such. Growing up in South Texas, I fell asleep to the tune of Tejano music by a large speaker at most family events, like quinceañeras, weddings, and everything in between, which wasn't great, but I survived, so it's okay. When you were putting these in, you want to squish them as tight as possible, and that way they're able to fit into your ear canal as snug as possible. So you want them to be about this small, and as they're going in, you want them to stay this small. And then you just hold it at the edge of your opening of the pinna, and you allow it to inflate again, and that blocks out some of the sound. It's still loud, but it's not as loud. And somehow I was still able to listen to my husband speak with these on, which is great. Some of the ways that you could check hearing with your assessments, their hearing screenings, you can use an audiometer. Starkey has a really, really great app that I've used multiple times on my phone. And I believe it's called Hearing Check or something of the sort. Just look up Starkey on your Apple device. I'm not sure if they're on Androids. But they're a really good company. They're a hearing aid company. One of my really, really great friends works for them and does amazing things helping people be able to hear again. And yes, they have a sound check is probably what it's called, actually. But I've done it on coworkers, I've done it on some patients, and it's just a basic test to assess where the hearing loss is, if there is one. And it's not to diagnose it, it's just a screener. So the patient is raising their hand with the tones, one hand, the other hand. They do have to be cognitively able to conduct the activity. But it is a good baseline to see how we can help them. Do they need to follow up with an audiologist when they leave our facility, or at that time if we're able to provide them with that service, and go from there. So yes, hearing is very important. And yeah, feel free to comment, follow, share, like, and do all that social media stuff, because that's why I'm here. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye.